Hey guys, good evening. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Great to be with you. It's July 25th, 2024, and I'm very happy today. You know why? Because we hit a milestone, and when we reach our 100th subscriber, I'm going to have a cake, and I'm going to put 100 candles on it. So that's going to be something you're going to want to stay tuned because I'm very grateful, ladies and gentlemen, that you guys are really liking my content. I think it's amazing. Um, and we're growing in the last couple months more than we ever have. So I want to say thank you to all of you for definitely watching and following and liking everything. But we're going to do something really special when we reach our 100th subscribers. So that's going to be really, really cool. I'm not going to tell you. Well, it's going to be a cake, but it'll be interesting, and we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate 100. So that's a pretty, really, really cool thing, and I hope you guys can appreciate that because I think it's going to make a big, big difference in everyone's life. All right. So I look forward to sharing more knowledge about that once we have it. But it'll be really cool because it's just amazing that we're able to celebrate our 100 subscriber, literally, ladies and gentlemen, in just about, I believe it'll be probably in a week or less, I'd say. So I think that's going to be really, really cool that we're going to be celebrating that. And yeah, we're going to have 100 candles. So that's going to be an amazing, amazing thing. And I want to thank you for being here with me, whether you're here at 10:50 p.m., 10:50 a.m. It doesn't really matter. I just want to thank you so much for being here with me. I do want to say thank you to everyone. And whether you're here again at 10:50 p.m., 10:50 a.m., 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 12 noon, 12 a.m., it doesn't really matter. I just really want to say thank you to you because without you guys, I wouldn't have the audience, and I really do appreciate what you guys do. So I want to tell you that it's very, very important to me that you guys like the content and you like what I'm doing for you, and that means an awful, awful lot to me. Okay. All right. The master topic, ladies and gentlemen, for the week, if you guys did not know, the master topic for the week, I'm going to share it with you. It's the keys to management. We're on series 3, by the way, in case you guys are wondering that. And pretty cool. Really, really cool. And tonight's granular topic is understanding the 80/20 rule, series 3, show 30, episode 6. What the heck is the 80/20 rule? So, in short, I'm going to try to give you like the short reason, right? So, what is the 80/20 rule in short? And then I'll give it to you like in more details. So, it's also known as the Pareto Principle. You might have heard of that before. And it's a familiar way of saying that asserts that 80% of the outcomes or outputs result from 20% of all the causes or inputs for any given event. In business, a goal of the 80/20 rule is identified the inputs that are potentially the most productive and make them the priority. For example, one manager can identify factors or an entrepreneur that are critical to their company's success, and they should give those factors the most focus. Although the 80/20 rule is frequently used in business and economics, you can apply the concept to any field: wealth distribution, personal finance, spending habits, and even infidelity in personal relationships can all be subject to the 80/20 rule. All right, so now you know a little bit about the Pareto Principle, and I'm going to share with you what the keys are to the Pareto Principle, okay? Number 1, identify the key inputs. By the way, do check out my hat, believemeachieve.com, for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. Definitely do that. Identify the key inputs. I think that's a very important thing. If you identify the key inputs, then you at least know what you're benchmarking, right? Focus on identifying the 20% inputs or efforts that are most effective in achieving 80% of the desired results. Okay, that's number one. Really simple. Number two, analyze the data. Data. Yes, use data to analyze and pinpoint which activities or resources yield the highest returns. Okay. All right. So number three, prioritize tasks. Allocate time and resources to the top 20% of tasks that significantly impact your goals. Very, very important. All right. Number four, eliminate inefficiencies. Reduce or eliminate the 80% of tasks or resources that contribute to minimally to your success. Get rid of them. Cut them out of your life. Okay. The fifth part is monitor the progress. Review regularly and adjust your focus to ensure you're continuously prioritizing the most impactful efforts. That is very important to keep doing that. The sixth, optimize resources. Make the most efficient use of your resources by investing them in high yield activities. Streamline processes and simplifying streamlined processes to enhance productivity and efficiency. That is very, very important. Okay. So optimize and streamline. So streamlining so we can have efficiency. And 8, ladies and gentlemen, 8. 8 is evaluate outcomes. Continuously evaluate outcomes to redefine and improve your approach, ensuring the 80-20 rule is applied right effectively. Number 9, delegate low impact tasks. Delegate or outsource tasks that fall within the less impactful 80% to free up time for high priority tasks. And the last one is set clear promises. Okay. Establish these clear, measurable promises to better identify and focus on the critical 20% of efforts that drive success. All right. So the Pareto Principle, people say to me, John, what is the Pareto Principle? Let's kind of do some key takeaways, right? So the 80-20 rule maintains that 80% of the outcomes from 20% of the causes. 80-20 rule prioritizes the 20% of factors that will produce the best results. The principle of the 80-20 rule is to identify an entity's best assets and use them efficiently to create maximum value. This rule is a precept, not a hard and fast mathematical law, though. And people sometimes mistakenly conclude that if 20% of the factors should get priority, then the other 80% can be ignored. Well, that's not 100% true. Okay. So it's important that we understand the Pareto Principle and understanding that you may think of the 80-20 rule as a simple cause and effect. 80% of the outcomes, okay, the outputs come from 20% of the causes. The rule is often used to point out that 80% of a company's revenue is generated by 20% of its customers. Pretty cool, right? So the core of the whole Pareto Principle is the 80-20 rule is about identifying an entity's best assets and using them efficiently to create maximum value. That's it. Hands down. Very simple. Understood, right? So the 80-20 rule is also known as the Pareto Principle and is applied in the Pareto analysis. It was first used in macroeconomics to describe the distribution of wealth in Italy in the early 20th century. It was introduced in 1906 by Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, who is best known for the concepts of Pareto efficiency. And Pareto noticed that 20% of the pea pods in his garden were responsible for 80% of the peas. Pareto expanded this principle to macroeconomics by showing that 80% of the wealth in Italy was owned by 20% of the populations. He demonstrated that 80% of the product defects were caused by 20% of the problems in production methods. Pretty cool, right? I think this is absolutely, absolutely amazing. So figure out what are the things that give you the most efficiency in your life. I think that's really the best thing. And you might say, John, I don't know what they are. So then you need to study. You need to research them, right? This is not about, guessing. It's about knowing. And so you may have to do some research, right? People use it on the stock market when they're building their stock portfolios, such as in the S&P 500s, or creating an 80-20 allocation. 80% of the investments could be lower risk index funds, while 20% could be growth funds. Of course, past performance doesn't necessarily line up with future results, but that's just some information there. And I think some people don't understand the fact that if they're doing a lot of work and they're being busy, that's not where their revenue comes from. Now, it's not to be mean or to be nasty or anything like that, but it's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. We have to figure out what that is. And if we figure out what that is, then we'll be a lot further down the path. I will tell you, though, it takes time. All right. It takes time to understand these things. And I will tell you that knowing that 20% of your efforts will result, okay, in, the highest value for you, then maybe you can understand the principle, right? So 80% of your outcomes come from 20% of all causes and inputs, right? Whether we're talking about revenue, whether we're talking about relationships, whether we're talking about health, wealth, it doesn't matter. It's very important to understand, and it's a very simple concept. But a lot of people think, oh, I've done all this work, then I must be able to get more because I put more time in. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay. We call it the Pareto rule or the 80-20 rule. And again, the Pareto principle specifies that 80% of consequences come from 20% of the causes, basically justifying that an unequal relationship between inputs and outputs. So, thinking about what you do in life, thinking about your success, thinking about all the things you do, figure out the things you do that are the most impactful in your life. The most impactful. That's what I said, the most impactful. And if you can't do that, then maybe you need to study it. Maybe you need to figure out what things are, why things are impactful. Maybe you need to figure that out, right? And so just knowing that should hopefully get you on the right track, right? I think a dig into the Pareto principle and how focusing on the critical 20% of your efforts yielding 80% of your results, you might not believe, but when you start to see, wow, what John's saying makes a lot of sense. What Pareto says makes a lot of sense. So a lot of things we hear day in and day out, but you generally don't decide to take that action until you've heard it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 times. That's just how the human mind works, right? It's like an advertisement. Got to hear it, see it, be immersed with it several times. You're not going to do anything the first time. So we talked a lot about the 80-20 rule. We talked a lot about its components, which I'm just going to review real quick. Identify key inputs, analyze data, prioritize tasks, eliminate inefficiencies, monitor progress, optimize resources, streamline processes, evaluate outcomes, delegate low impact tasks, and set clear promises. That's the goal. And so when you get this, when you start to resonate, oh, wait a minute, now I see why I'm wasting so much time. Yeah, because you're expecting that your 80% is going to give you more, but it's not. It's the 20%. 20% of your customers will equate for 80% of your growth. That's pretty cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know you know this, but if you don't, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you this fantastic Thursday evening, July 25th, 2024. I hope you'll like, love, and support the channel. Definitely go to believemeachieve.com. Share all my great content. Let's reach 100 real soon so I can sing happy birthday to the channel, and we can keep growing and putting more content out there. By the way, I want to let you know, just a few days ago, we did have a milestone that I would also like to celebrate. We had hit the milestone of 1,000 episodes. Wow. 1,000 episodes for Inspirations for Your Life. I mean, we are a daily show, and we've been around for quite a while. It's going to be, basically, we are, I'm going to say, a little bit past the halfway mark of basically our third year. And we'll be into our fourth year in the end of December. All right, guys. So have yourself a fantastic rest of your night. And check out all my great content at believemeachieve.com for more of the amazing information that will inspire